All right, everybody. I'll continue to let people in, but really this is just like a answer your questions, sort of explain what we're thinking kind of call. I don't have like slides prepared or anything. Y'all have the proposal. If you have specific questions about it, I'm happy to sort of answer and talk you through our thinking. But our big idea is our legislators kept asking like, what's next in science of reading? What are you going to do once the teachers are trained? And something that we noticed along the way is even people who'd done 2 years of letters were still sort of questioning implementation in the classroom. You sort of have your runners that are off and changing things the next day. And then you have your other people who are saying, oh, I'm not sure my curriculum matches this, or I'm not sure how exactly to make sure that my materials are matching my knowledge. And so we know through our reading core experience that and Joyce and Shower skill development cycle, which I've talked to you all about at our principal meetings, right, is that just knowledge is not enough. Adding in the modeling is great, still not enough. Practice helps, still not enough. We might only see 5% improvement in strategies or 5% implementation 3 months later if we don't have coaching and feedback. So we know that at the end of the line of this reading, all these changes that we're doing in reading, if we really want to hit that student outcome, we've got to really attend to that feedback and that coaching. And I know that one of the things that stands in your way is how do you fund literacy coaches? And so in order to do that, we're proposing to a foundation to purchase contracts for literacy coaches. And we would support those literacy coaches through the SEEC in a similar way that we do Reading Core. So those of you not familiar with Reading Core, we have someone at our office who's considered a coaching specialist, and they come alongside once a month, your coach that's local, to ensure fidelity to whatever it is we're having fidelity to. And so in Reading Core, it's that really tight intervention and data process that we use. In this program, it would be more about the coaching tools that were in the appendix. I'm working on getting better graphics for those. They're just my real bad screenshots right now. But we know that instructional coaching doesn't go off as planned if people don't have something to coach around. And so whether we're talking about our after school program, what we did with 21st Century, or whether we're talking about literacy coaching, what we know is giving the coaches something really tight to coach around is part of having success within the model. So we would provide the tools to coach around, which could be used alongside a principal. There are other tools that are more specific to practices that coaches could use with teachers that would have parallels to that tool that maybe a principal would use. And then there's also a tool that can be used more as a self-assessment, as a system of what else needs to be done here. So our idea is that if you have 1 or 2 sections in your school per grade, you would have about a half of an FTE. If you have 3 or more sections. I don't think there's anyone here with more than 5 sections. So 3, 4, or 5 sections. Then we do a full FTE for that literacy coach position. Idea is also that SEEK would employ them. And so we would have some similar to Reading Core, we would have some what they can do and what they can't do. We don't want them to get pulled for subbing all the time. We don't want them to get pulled into duties and some of those kinds of things. We would really want them to spend the majority of their time in classrooms and with data teams and looking at data and doing that coaching. And then about once a week, we would have them come here to our office and work collaboratively as a group on whether it's talking through some of their problems of practice or whether it's doing some professional learning with our team here. So that's sort of the general idea. We are looking to ask DPI for support for the coaching tools and to get the regional coaching specialists trained up to use the tools. And then we would be able to train the local coaches, the local literacy coaches on the use of those tools. So we're looking to DPI to help us with that initial coaching purchase. And then we're looking at a funder, a philanthropic funder to fund the local literacy coach positions. We would do some in-kind here at SEEK of those coaching specialists those regional coaching specialists. The regional coaching specialists, we will probably have other regions in our state who are coming alongside us with AIM using those coaching tools. But as of now, our proposal just includes that coaching structure of that coaching the coaches here in this corner of the state.
So how much would it cost for schools, Carrie? Because I see your breakdown of all the expenses, but are you looking to get this completely funded?
Yes.
Okay. So
It
like
would,
I'm a reading
like
coach.
I even put travel in thinking, I don't know where these coaches are from or where they're going to, and are they traveling to Fargo once a week? Or are they coming out to your school 4 days a week? I put a lot of travel in thinking, not sure which way that would go.
I see that. I just didn't know, like, you know how we pay like 2,000 or 5,000 or whatever for reading core
Yeah,
if they're
at this time, as a pilot project, I don't have a school cost anticipated.
Is this kind of like what Erica Carney did right away for you guys?
It is.
Okay. So it'd be
Yeah.
very similar to the same structure and how that
Except
works.
she was paid through the CLSD grant, but
Right.
yes,
Okay.
um, our idea is that it would be similar to what Erica Carney and Cindy Urbis did for us through the 3 schools that had literacy coaches. What we found didn't work was that they weren't embedded in the school more full time. So that's why we're like, we got to push those people out and only take them into our office once a week as a visitor, not as a, even though they would be our employees,
That's an
we
employee.
wouldn't want to treat them as our employees on the daily because we would want them out there in your schools. The other consideration that we really thought about in that NERN effective implementation framework is that we invited schools who had high science of reading knowledge. Their teachers had done a lot of work with that, and also good organizational structures. So you already have a functioning MTSS system. What happened with Erica and Cindy is that they did spend a lot of time sort of at that systems level work. And we know that that's important and needed, and we want these people to be more in the classrooms using that coaching tool.
Okay.
With the part-time FTE, do you see it like, do we round out and we would do like a full-time, like we could extend their day, or are they shared between 2 districts? Is there flexibility that way?
Probably depending on who and where, right, Lauren? Yeah, like we could share potentially a Griggs and a Barnes together, right? That could be one person, right? Or if you have a half of a person, I know some on the call might already have a literacy coach. Can we purchase part of their time even, right?
Got it. So we could like grow our own, find our own, and like say, hey, as a part of the pilot, this is who we want.
We're open to lots of ideas about how that works. We know that that person has to have a good level of experience to have the street cred in your building with your teachers and a good level of knowledge. So I anticipated someone with about 15 years of experience. I don't know if that's how it will shake out, but I thought somewhere between that 10 and 15 years is probably the right kind of person with the right kind of experiences to be able to help inform those practices. It wouldn't have to be that, but that's just what I sort of budgeted for.
Oh, in terms of setting their salary up, and
Mhm.
that's okay. Do you need like a commitment from districts of like, hey, we're interested in order to?
I'm really just like, who's sort of interested. I'm hoping that what I put in the proposal was 5 FTEs. I invited more than 5 FTEs worth of you on the call. And so I'm hoping that at the end, we have at least 5 who are ready to go with us. If we have more than 5, I'm meeting with them later this week and I could increase that number if we have some strong, like, yeah, absolutely, we're really interested.
I don't see why you wouldn't if there's no cost to you.
Well,
I
not
mean,
every school is ready for coaches to come into classrooms. Not every school has teachers who are receptive to that. And so that is sort of a push point here and something that would have to be in the MOU, that your teachers would have to be open to having those regular classroom visits. I'm envisioning that they will be in every teacher's classroom in your elementary every month.
Yeah.
You know, so they can do true coaching cycles. So that would be a reason if you felt like my staff is not ready for that, you know, they don't want to be watched, they don't want feedback yet, like we're not at that place, then this isn't for you.
So at this time, we would be part of a pilot. Am I understanding that correctly?
Mhm. It is my hope, when the legislature keeps asking me, what's next? I have been telling them coaching. When they hear coaching, when you look on the interwebs about coaching and all the memes about coaches, they think that they're people that sit in the lounge and bring the donuts and tell people to have a good day. So I'm hoping that through this, we will have student outcome results as a result of in-class coaching around literacy that we can show to the legislature to say, this is something worth funding.
So your goal is to have a literacy coach funded for each
Someday,
district school.
someday. That's
I
my
like
way
it.
far off goal. My more
Yeah.
immediate short-term goal is I want to see the hard work that you and your teachers have done pay off in terms of student outcomes.
Tina, we had Tina and she wore a bajillion different hats. And I feel like getting in the classroom and actually the coaching process, she did fidelity checks and she did all the other things, but that was always a thing that was pushed aside because of all the other duties. So I think it would be great to see and have that system or process or structure to link it directly to student achievement without having all those other duties, right? Because
They're all important things that I know you need to get done.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I also think by having this common understanding around this tool, we'll all be speaking the same language, whether it's a principal who knows more explicitly of what to look for in
Yeah.
a science of reading classroom, or whether it's the teacher that knows what to expect when someone comes to visit, the do's and the do nots. The one tool has like the greens and the reds, like start doing this if you haven't, and stop doing these things. That really helps and speaks to de-implementation in a way that we don't always get to in our letters training. And so I do think my other big goal here is to work with DPI on the CLIMBS. The CLIMBS grant, the new CLSD grant, has an educator network and a principal network. I have a call later today with the educator network folks, and I would like this tool to be used across all literacy programs in North Dakota. So it's not just this one pilot, but so I kind of have two or three tracks here. One is asking DPI to help fund the purchase of the training and the coaching tools through AIM. We would invite our other RA partners to be a part of that, and perhaps some large districts who have like someone who coaches the coaches within their district, like a Fargo or a Minot or a Grand Forks who has someone at the district office that would serve more in that sort of regional role. We're asking for DPI to purchase 10 spots of that more that coaching specialist level training. And then this is sort of an add-on to that to say, could we also get into schools and try it at a level, at that classroom level, so that we can see what that student outcome is?
So for the teacher who is saying, yes, I'm interested and I want to take this on, what would be our pitch and our line to them as far as job security? Is the district then going to say, hey, we'll pick you up if this doesn't go more than a year? I mean, and we're okay doing that with the district. We've done it before with other grant funds, but I just want to know the level.
It might be, Lauren. Yeah, it might be that. When we meet with the funder later this week, I'll have to find out what their timeline is. Do they typically fund for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year? I'm not sure what their typical funding mechanism is. This funder in the past has not been as stringent about like this idea of building capacity, where they want you to take on 10% of the contract next year and 20% the year after. And this funder realizes that that's not probably sustainable beyond the funding period. And so they're more willing to fund the kind of ongoing expenses that it would take to do something like this until we could get some perhaps legislation in place. So that's I think is a positive thing within this project, that I don't think we're looking for necessarily your investment over time to eventually, but maybe, I mean, through CLSD, we had 3 districts. 2 had what I would say regular literacy coaches that were hired throughout the project. One of those districts kept that person on even past CLSD. So I mean, yes, that's a hope, is that this is sustainable, but I also know, like, bottom line is people know the budgets for that right now either. And you're just trying to find like regular teachers for your classrooms. And so like an extra is a lift. Like I understand all those pieces too.
If you already said this, I apologize. Grade level from what to what?
We're thinking elementary, the tools are meant for elementary.
So K6.
There are pieces in the tools that speak more to those upper level language comprehension skills. So I think we could. I also have some other tools that are free from some other places that are more for that middle school level. So if you have, if your fifth and sixth feel like this tool doesn't work for them, I think we would have solutions for that.
Okay, this is getting ahead of ourselves, but it seems that what's happening with the science of reading in the state is then being modeled and passed down to math. So should we, I mean, I'm like, okay, are we gonna have a math coach in our school? Is this gonna be one person someday? I guess kind of what we're setting out is, are we setting ourselves up for that, or has your mind gone there?
Yeah, I mean, everything, we had curriculum fair here today, and we're like, actually, this curriculum support guide workbook process that principals can get home to take their teams through could also be used for math, right? And so our heads are always there. Being that they're just starting with their knowledge building for grades 4 through 8 next year, I think we've got a little time, and nothing's for sure. Nothing says the legislature is going to fund coaches. It's just my hope and dream, right? So you're right, like too early to tell, and yes. Also, the tools from AIM were developed by some of the best researchers that we have around literacy in this country. Like Linnea Airy of Airy's Phases, like went through with her red pen, like, nope, change this word, change this section. Like, this is really an evidence-based tool. They're doing some research on it now with some other states, and so it will be validated soon. I feel really good about that. I don't know where math is at in terms of having some of those pieces in place just yet.
It says that you're requesting clear screenshots from the Ames tool. Do you guys have those yet?
They
Or
won't let us have them. I mean,
I was gonna say, I
we
figured.
did a lot of illegal screenshotting while we were on a call with them, but I don't have access to those yet. Not until we get DPI's approval to buy the coaching to get the tools. So
Well, I was just wondering too, you showed that curriculum workbook, and is that kind of what you're doing with the teachers at BCN for our PD days coming up?
I mean, we're getting there. We got walkthroughs tomorrow in Allendale, so I'm just one day ahead,
Yes, okay. I am teaching them a curriculum instruction and assessment class, and I am having them assess the reading curriculum using what we got from you guys a couple years ago, but that might already be outdated. Is that a good word?
Maybe we might have something new.
Okay, I'm gonna find it and send it to you just so I
Okay.
know, because
I'll
that's
tell you if we have something updated.
okay.
Carrie, you mentioned other states, and like this is like sounding, is this like a Mississippi Miracle style? Like, is that like, are you trying to like get everything funded? And
I mean, it came up on a few calls this week and last week that yes. I mean, there are other states who, through their CLSD and other funding and their ESSER dollars, funded coaches at the state level and deployed them out from the state level. That's what Minnesota's even doing with their READ Act. So yes, there are states who have done this with varying degrees of success, I would say. Mississippi coaches were deployed out to schools, and I think that was part of the success that they had in Mississippi. And they also did come to regional centers on the regular. So yes, I would like to be like them someday. I know that they've done a little bit of work in Nebraska with AIM, and then somewhere Northeast. I want to say Maryland, but I might be lying. It might be another one of those tiny little places up that way. But they did some statewide things with them too.
Is this looking at implementation for next school year?
That's my hope.
Okay.
If we have the funding to be able to hire this spring, that would be amazing.